Good morning, Rose. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm sorry for being fashionably late. Sorry about that.
You look fashionably beautiful, though.
I worked on it. That's why I was late. Thank you.
Yeah, I had to fix my hair too, so I was over here going like, man, which way am I gonna turn it? I'm gonna turn it that way and that way and maybe that.
You did good. You did good. I'm liking it.
Yeah, yeah. So today's Mother's Day and everything. I was just talking about Mother's Day, and I got to call my mom here in a little bit and wish her a happy Mother's Day. We celebrated a little bit yesterday with some barbecue. Oh my goodness, we threw down.
Oh,
We had some chicken, some ribs, hamburgers, hot dogs. We had a bunch of stuff. We had a bunch of friends and family over last night, and
wow.
it was a good time.
Nice. Did you take pictures or videos,
I,
anything like
just
that?
a, just a couple. So the couple that I posted really was of myself. Yeah, a lot of my friends and family, they didn't really want anything posted, and I respected that.
I
So
understand. Yes.
I just didn't want to share that part of it. So I just kind of got to there. There's me on the side with the barbecue grill, and I was like, that was enough for me.
Nice, nice. Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, are, do you celebrate Mother's Day and call your mom and say Happy Mother's Day and everything and share moments and memories and everything? How do you celebrate Mother's Day?
It is different for me. I am one of the people with, how do you call that, different circumstances.
Uh-huh.
Um, I have a lot of people who have played the mom's role in my life. So usually I'll send a text. It depends. Like I like to surprise people,
Yeah.
like send a random friend a bouquet or something without them knowing that it's coming from me. But it's I like looking at mothers, especially first time mothers, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful, right? Like motherhood is beautiful.
We
So
did that. So we made sure that we got some flowers and sent out some flowers. So I went and bought a whole bunch of roses yesterday. We made sure that we handed out roses and had my kids made some cards, and we got
wow.
some other things that we're doing. So it's not a big celebration, but it's a matter of just remembering the sacrifices that mothers make in order to bring us all into this world. Because mothers make a big sacrifice in order to bring us into the world, and a lot of people take that sacrifice for granted. And I
Hmm.
know myself, I am truly blessed, truly thankful for my mother. And whether it's my actual mother or a different mother or someone that has played a
Hmm.
mother role within my
Hmm.
life, because I've experienced all the above. I've got my actual mother. She's still alive. I still talk to her. I still, and I'm truly blessed and thankful for that. But I also have a stepmother as well, too,
Mm.
because my parents divorced at an early age, and they both got remarried multiple times. So I do have multiple mother figures within my life, and I got to make sure that I call each and every one and say Happy Mother's Day. Whether you like them or not, here's the thing, that they still sacrifice and do things out of love and out of respect and out of honor of you. So in honor of mothers all around the world, Happy Mother's Day.
That was really good, Terry.
All right, so let me kind of reset everybody. I was wanting to give some people some opportunity to come on here. So Rose, thank you for joining me here today. Today we have Rose. She is known as a self-love coach. She is a Dale Carnegie Leadership Award winner, and she teaches you the loving yourself is the first step to freedom. Rose, good morning and welcome. Let's have a good time.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. You're so sweet. I appreciate those kind words.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about self-love. What does self-love mean to you?
To me, it's honoring yourself,
Mhm.
knowing that we are humans, or souls trying to have a human experience, right? We are imperfect. We have so many flaws, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But loving yourself means loving every part of you, loving the good, loving the bad, loving the in between, loving the progress. But it doesn't mean that we don't change. It doesn't mean that we don't grow. It doesn't mean that we don't challenge ourselves. And it doesn't mean that we shame ourselves for making mistakes or for not being perfect. It is just really being you, being the best version of yourself that you can be. And I say I fight for the light side. I want to be kind. I want to be love. I want to show love, right? I want that when I speak, or that when I interact with people, that they feel loved, that they feel safe. And I think in order for me to make them feel that way, I have to make me feel that way, because like you get to be centered within yourself. And when you are centered within yourself, you can actually see other people's needs. You can feel it. It's like you know what they need in order to feel good. And I want to make other people feel good. It's something that I feel like I'm good at. So loving yourself is being at peace with yourself, accepting all of you. Long answer, but
Yeah. So serving others, you know, that's very important. It's like the book that's right here behind me, Built to Serve by Evan Carmichael. I know when you find your when you find your purpose, you will find your passion, but we find that through our pain. And I
mm-hmm.
know that a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things that are happening out there negative within the world that can cause a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of those types of things. And sometimes all that we need is just that comfort, that something else that is outside of us, because we tend to kind of shut down and, you know, and close ourselves out to the world. And sometimes we need just that little bit of love, that other person, that extra something that can lift our spirits, lift our hearts and everything. And, you know, and I know myself, I practice gratitude. Okay, and I believe that gratitude is a very important part of our day and the daily routine. And I want to always make sure that I have something that I'm grateful for. For example, today, I am grateful to talk with you. I am 100% absolutely grateful to talk with you. So tell me, how important is it to exercise gratitude within your life?
Gratitude has changed my life. It is something that I practice on a daily basis. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't always write it down, but I don't ever not wake up with the thought of, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for my life. And for me, it's that much deeper because I was suicidal. I hated life. I swear to you, I was one of those people when people would be like, oh, life is a gift. In my mind, I'm just like, you know, like, you know, it's like, what's such a gift about this terrible life? It's terrible things after terrible things after terrible things, right? I thought so differently. Every day was just like, you know, you're just dragging through. When you sleep, it's like, oh, finally at peace. Next day, it's just, you're just going through the motions, right? And so from practicing gratitude, it started like a while back, kind of doing it, but not really. But eventually, when you can go back, I actually have my books here. You can go back and look at it and see all the things. Because when you do it and you just say one thing like, oh, I'm grateful for water, it's like you realize, in my case, it's like there's been days where I did not have water. There's been days where I did not have food, right? And so like when you look back and see all the things that you do have, it's like, I have a lot. I have a lot. And it's like your life changes, right? It changes your perspective, because when you focus on what you don't have, like they say, it's obvious, right? Like you see that you don't have a lot because that's where your mind is. But when you focus on the little things that you have, you realize you have so much more. And we can always find something not to be grateful for, and we can always find something to be grateful for. But the result more or less are the same, right? Like if you're going to be miserable one way or another, if this is not life, then I want to lie to myself that I'm happy rather than lie to myself that I'm not happy, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. So here's the thing, you know, and I see this everywhere that I go. I see a lot of people, you know, they want to complain about all these things. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have that. Look at this. Look at this situation. Look at this circumstance. You know, in life, it doesn't really matter about all of the things that you have. It's more important about what you give than
That's
what you
true.
have. And when you can give yourself that love, that happiness, that whatever it is that you want within life, you cannot give what you don't have. And you
That's
must
true.
first look within yourself and give that to yourself so that you can give it to others. So what are your thoughts on that right there about giving to others?
So the whole idea of self-love, even though it is for you, it is so that you can be a better human for the world, right? Like to me, I think my duty on earth is to serve, is to love. But it's not, I know, I feel like we use this to treat people who wouldn't normally help. Like, oh, when you do it, it comes back to you. So then it's like, okay, fine, I do it. But like, I'm not actually expecting something in return. Like, what else am I supposed to do on earth? Just eat, breathe, complain. Like we can give to others. We can help. Like you can give your smile, because sometimes people say, oh, I wish I could help people, but I don't have money. Like you don't have to have money. It can be $1. It can be, like I said, a smile. That does not cost you anything. It could be just being intentional about being nice, even on the days you don't feel like, because someone else needs it more than you. But if we work together, if you love your brother and your sister, and I mean like just us, when you have other people's best interests at heart, if we all have each other's best interests at heart, the world would be a better place. But we don't, because we think about ourselves. You know, we're humans.
You know, and I just kind of want to touch on that as well too, because I believe now there's a lot of people that are just 100% truly selfish, and there's a word
Mm-hmm.
for that, narcissistic. You know, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that there's a difference between being narcissistic and being selfish in terms of, okay, you kind of got to think of yourself a little bit. I think all in all, we all have to be just a little bit selfish, you know, in reference to that. Because when we learn, when we grow, when we discover, we do that for ourselves so that we can give that to others, whether it be knowledge, whether it be experience, whether it be whatever the case may be. So I want to kind of hit on something that you said right there about, and I think that you was about ready to reference something about touch. And I think that touch is very important. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, we must all have. We all crave that touch. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the easiest, most simplest ways in which that we can give that to others is a hug. I'm telling you, there's nothing as simple as just a hug. And it means different
Mm-hmm.
things to different people, you know, and I think that hug is something that's comforting. It kind of, you know, when you have that touch and when you give someone a hug, you're pulling them in. You're
Yes.
giving them comfort in their moments of discomfort. So what is your take on
Mm-hmm.
touch and its role within self-love?
So you have such good points today. You're touching on all my hot button. I, I was adopted when I was 5, and I can't remember being touched or, anything
Mhm.
with emotional, anything weird like that. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't really like to be touched because now I know that it's because I'm an empath, but then it was just some people's energy was just weird. But then some people, when they did touch me or did hug me, it felt peaceful. Now, as a young adult, there were a few people in my lives, and they were usually mothers, people that were older than me, nice. And every time they hugged me, it's like, even though I didn't like hugs, it was like something peaceful, and you feel loved, you feel at peace, you feel safe, right? Like I felt that with certain people, and it felt so good. So these days, funny enough, I love hugs, but before it was just like, I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be touched. So this day, I also love hugging other people because I think those people, the reason they made me feel safe, it was their energy, right? And so I want to be that person for other people. I want to provide them with love because it's the intent behind the hug, right? Like, so I
Mhm.
don't like when people do this to me because it's very awkward. It's like you're patting me in the back, and I'm like, I can do this to myself. So when I do hug people, I go for the full hug,
Yeah,
right? I know
you
in
got to
the
go
US,
all in. You got to get in there
yeah, like,
and give
give
that
me
full
a real
hug.
hug. I don't want a fake one, but yeah, I definitely think touch is so important. And even when I communicate with people, I know in our American culture it's different. You're in Canada. No, you're here.
No, I'm in America. Yeah.
Okay, you're in America. I know in our culture, like it could turn into a creepy thing or perversion, but like I like to touch people. Like I do that on purpose. I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel like we're human, we're together. So I'm a touchy kind of person, and I'm intentional with my touches. So I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I can see how it can be a form of greeting because in different cultures we have different forms of greeting. In
Mhm.
some cultures, you know, it's like a nod of the head or a bow. In other cultures, it's a handshake. In other cultures, it's a full out, you know, get in here and I'm going to give you a hug. You know, so
Yes.
within your experience, how have you experienced different cultures and greetings like that? You know, like for hug, handshakes. Have you experienced anything other than that in the form of a greeting?
So you in America we shake hands.
Hmm.
That was one that I hated the most. But part of it was because growing up, and I left my culture when I was much younger. So sometimes you kind of only have the baby knowledge of what was taught, or you're holding on to something that's not really the truth. I
Hmm.
just knew that as a kid, I couldn't shake hands with adults. They will have to extend their hands to me. Right? Like, so if I went to an adult to shake their hands, that's rude. So I will have to wait for them to come to me.
Hmm.
However, hugging is okay to give hug to people. So the tighter the hug, the closer the relationship. So if you give a
Wow.
light hug, that means that you guys are not really close. And
Yeah.
then in my culture, we have kisses too. And the number of kisses depends on how close you are, right? And
Okay.
and my country was colonized by the French. You know how it is. So it's everything is within. I know I have friends from other ethnic group. Of course, you have the nod, the way you treat older people, elderly, and all this kind of stuff. So every culture is different. I adjust. It's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. And I can relate to that because my family is a multicultural family. My wife is from South America, so we have different ways in which we express love as well too. And we're multilingual within our house. We speak English. We also speak Spanish in our
Oh,
house.
that's wonderful.
And I know that there's a lot of differences, like I said, because I've traveled around the world and I've seen many different things. Like last night, I'll give you an example. Last night, and I know that a lot of things, play in a role as well too with the current pandemic that's happening. A lot of people don't want to shake hands. They don't want to hug. They don't want to get close. So
Mm-hmm.
last night, I gave an elbow bump. I was like, that was enough. That was a greeting. I was like, okay, here you go. Boom. There's an elbow bump. That's a form of, touch, a form of acknowledgement. And that's the thing. And I think that when you are able to acknowledge someone, there's a level of respect there that that kind of is mutual and works both ways. So I want to touch on something here. You hit on a key word, and I love that word because I've got a great book back here behind me, and it's called Thriving as an Empath. You don't see it here. It's off on the other side over there, but it's called Thriving as an Empath. And I believe that empathy allows you to see things from another perspective. But here's the thing. So many people negatively judge others instead of offering value when it's needed the most. So share your thoughts on empathy.
So that's kind of like this different level of empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
This empath, like using your spiritual gift, and empath being able to um, feel what other people feel.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned before, I'm an empath, and I have learned to protect my own energy because I used to be able to, like you go around other people and you come home sad or stressed out, and you have no idea what's going on. You're like, I'm good. Like I don't know what's going on with me. So these days, I'm very cautious about how I take other people in, right? Like I need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to make that difference that, okay, that's you, those are your emotions, these are mine. I need to be able to take you in without absorbing that. But I think empathy, just as a general word, it's something that a lot of us don't practice. And I think part of it is because we are primarily very self-centered, and so if it doesn't affect us, we don't really care. Even though we say treat people the way you want to be treated, how many times do we actually stop and think before doing what we want to do? We kind of like usually focus on ourselves. So empathy with me is really feeling what the other person feel. And you mentioned judgment. See, I don't actually think judging others is wrong. The word
Mm-hmm.
judgment, I think it's an opinion, because if someone came to you and they were like, Terry, I think that you are self-centered. I
Mm-hmm.
think that you pretend to be someone you're not, and I think you're fake.
Mm-hmm.
You will get upset, probably, like, how dare you don't know me? But someone could also come to you and say, Terry, I think you're a very kind human being. I think you're the best human being I've ever seen. You're not going to get upset. Why is that? Because you don't like what they're saying about you that you don't want to hear. And so you're like, oh, you're judging me, you're upset. But it could also be because there are things about you that you are not ready to accept, or you don't want to be true, or it's not true anymore. So for me, I don't care if people judge me. I don't care if someone tells me, if someone says something about me that I know it's not true, I don't care, because it's not the truth. But if
Yeah.
it is the truth, then I may laugh because it's like, okay, it's the truth. So what? It's not a big deal, because people should have judgment. There's a difference between judging and condemning. And I feel like we have judgment. Just because we don't express it doesn't mean we're not judging, because we say we're not judging, but I have an opinion about your things. I'm thinking I wouldn't do it this way. I'm just not expressing it. But if you were to explain yourself to me and say, oh, I'm this kind of person because of this, okay, whatever, that's fine. Because now I know where you're coming from. But I think we have judgment, and it's okay to have those judgment. I think it's not okay to not change when facts are presented to us, or like not give the person the opportunity to show us who they really are.
Yes.
So I guess that's where I stand when it regards to judgment. It doesn't really bother me anymore because I know who I am.
Yeah. I like that. You got excited. You were passionate about that one.
Yes.
I love it. See, now you're smiling, and I love that because you have a great smile. So I
Thank you.
think that emotions, emotions tend to play a role in a lot of different
Mhm.
things, and we can all get emotional about different things. Especially when we see something or we hear something that we don't like, we all tend to
Mhm.
have those opinions, and then we tend to say things that, oftentimes we really don't mean, or maybe we do based off of our perspective. But at the end of the day, I think that judgment comes from perspective. And
Yes, I
perspective, I
agree.
think, is built off of our values and the things that we value the most, the
Mm-hmm.
things that we have learned, the things that we have seen, the things that we have put and developed within our lives that shapes our mindset and shapes the way that we act, because everything starts right there within
Yes,
your mind.
yes.
And everything that we say, everything that we do is an extension of what starts right there. But
Mm-hmm.
how does something get in there? Because as we're children, as we are born into this world, we are a blank slate. We don't know anything. We are born a blank slate. Everything in life that we do, from the way that we walk, from the way that we talk, to the way that we do anything, is learned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hate is learned.
Mm-hmm.
Love is learned. All of this stuff that we do within life is learned. And what can be learned can also be unlearned.
That's true.
And here's the thing. You talk about feelings and emotions, and I love that because I'm a very emotional person. Believe me, I myself have yelled and screamed at the top of my lungs over some things that have just been like, oh my goodness, I just want to rip right through this, because I do get emotional. And at
Mm-hmm.
the opposite end of the spectrum, now I'm a man, okay? And I am not afraid or ashamed to admit I have cried my eyes out over some things. I cry every single day. I cry
Mm-hmm.
about
Mm-hmm.
something because I'm a very
Mm-hmm.
emotional person as well
Mm-hmm.
too. You might not see it, but it's there. So how do you control emotions when you're feeling overwhelmed?
So what I'm learning, or what I've learned about myself, is that I think just like every other human being, I want to be in control. I want to feel in control. So
Mm-hmm.
even when I lose control, other people want to know it's just really me. I like to be in control of how I carry myself, how I present myself. So if we're talking about this version of me, I'm aware when I'm upset. So if I'm upset and I'm expressing that I'm upset, I will let the person know, by the way, I am upset. So I may be a little bit more emotional than usual. I may say things out of character, but please know that my intent are in the right place or whatever. Or I may just start speaking and I can feel it, because things change inside of you, in your mind, you feel it. So I feel that I'm upset and I may just calm down. But for me, getting upset, losing control of your emotion is giving your power away. And there's a quote that I heard once, and it says, when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. And like I said before, because I want to control myself, I'm always careful. So this always stays in the back of my mind whenever it comes to a situation where I feel like my emotions are going to take over. Because if I act out of character, I'm the one who's going to have to be accountable to myself for acting that way. Yet I had the opportunity to manage my emotion, even though it was difficult, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
try my very best to not let anger um, take over, which is interesting because I think I'm an impulsive person. I actually get upset very fast, but like I said, I want to control things. So when it comes to emotion, I want to be in control of how I present myself so I don't feel guilty later on. So
Yeah, yeah. You definitely don't want to say something that you're going to regret later, because regret is one of those
you
things
can't
that
take the words back. That's another thing. Like once, if even if the person is terrible to me, if I say something equally as terrible, I'm gonna remember. It's gonna bother me. So I'm really just trying to control the after feelings of me feeling bad. So I don't want myself to feel bad. So I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I'm hurting your feelings just because my emotions took over. You know, it's like, I don't know. I want to be able to save the moment. And I don't, and I guess you learn that it's not about being right, right? Like sometimes I let the other person think that I think I'm wrong, just because it's like, if that's what you need to be okay, then you're right. It's not a big deal. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not really right about, it's not really a matter of being right or wrong, because we could really have arguments and discussions all day long about different things from our perspective, because I have a perspective,
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
have a perspective, and believe me, I've been in some knockdown, drag out arguments and conversations trying to defend my
your
perspective.
point of view.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, gosh, what are you getting so upset about? If you want to win a conversation or argument, bring a better argument.
Yes.
If you're going to
Yes.
bring that weak stuff in here, don't bring it in here without being able to defend it, because I'm going to crush you.
Mhm.
And, and it's one of those things. So I do get passionate about that as well, too. So when it comes down to distractions, because I think that a lot of times, there's a lot of things that are going on out there in the world, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. And I think there's a lot of things that is serving as distractions
Uh-huh.
that's basically not allowing us to be the best version of ourselves within life. How do you handle distractions?
Um, I have a lot of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not being productive, I'm not lying to myself. I will realize that I'm doing something that's not gonna bring me closer to my dream. And I will tell myself, you see how you get distracted? You see how you're not doing it? Okay, don't complain later on, right? Like I have a lot of internal talk. We know what's going on. When I'm being lazy, I know that I'm being lazy and I accept the consequences or the lack of result, right? But at the same time, if it's something that I really want, I treat myself like I tell people I have to work out, right? I don't have to work out. No one is going to do anything to me if I don't work out. But I set myself up. I set my alarm at certain times. Like, this is what I have to do. So for me, when there are things that are necessary that I want to get done, it's a have to. And I make it in my mind. I trick my mind to think that if this didn't happen, like, it has to happen type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally don't have that many distractions, to be honest, because I am doing this thing that I'm doing. I don't have that much time. So getting distracted is just me maybe needing time away from the screen, from thinking and what have you. But I mean, I don't know. I have a lot to do. My books are all over looking at me. So like there are times that I say I choose to not be productive. But like I always say, I'm not someone who get bored, because being bored means you don't want to be productive. There's always something to do. You can
Right.
exercise more, you can read, you can go back to the reading that you've done, you can work on yourself, you can meditate. So I personally am not I'm not plagued by distraction. I just have times that I am choosing to be lazy.
And here's the thing, a lot of people tend to say certain things as like, well, I don't have time, or, I don't have resources, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. And I think that's kind of in line with what you're talking about. It's like,
Mm.
oh, I don't have the energy, or, I've got so many different things to do. And what that is that's really just procrastination, because people are not really passionate about what it is that they're doing. So they're making up excuses,
Mhm.
and that internal self-talk really just kind of brings them down. So here's the thing, the language that we use is, it can really mean a lot of different things. And I know myself, depending on how I say things to myself or what I say to myself, it can lift me up and give me energy.
Yeah.
At the
Mhm.
opposite end of that spectrum, there's things that I can say to myself that'll 100% drag me down, and I'm defeated, and I don't want
Mhm.
to do anything. So tell me something. What role does language play in, showing love not only to yourself and giving yourself energy and giving yourself, the ability to be productive, but how do you use language when you're coaching or teaching or trying to lift someone else up?
So at the end of the day, words are words. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the meaning that we give them. Uh, but for me, it's really just I take in however you communicate with me. So if we're talking and I feel your energy, whatever you're giving me, I pretty much give you more or less the same, because that's what you're comfortable with. But my style is not to tell you what you're doing is wrong. This is how you should do it. I just want you to have the awareness, because I want you to be you. I want you to be the best version of yourself. So I think when you're talking about language, are you referring to self-talk?
Yes.
Inner
Mm-hmm.
talk? Okay. So you practice these things enough times, they just kind of become part of you. And so I have backup affirmations for my backup affirmations for my backup affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
because right, like you said earlier, we come into the world and we learn things. We can unlearn the tapes. So I'm aware that I'm unlearning the tapes. So at this point of my life, I can hear my limiting beliefs. So when I hear them, sometimes I wonder if other people heard it too, right? Like I'll say it and I'm like, okay, yeah, that I just revealed that I need to work on it. So I'm like catching up with myself. I'm paying attention to the things that I'm saying, to the like, am I in alignment with who I say I am? And I won't ask someone to do something that I have not yet done, and I won't lie to them that I'm doing it, I let them know. In everything that we do, Terry, and I don't know, maybe you're one of the people who have never fallen off your wagon. You do everything every day, no exception. I'm not one of those people. I fall off my wagon every day. I just get back up. I just keep getting back up because that's what I need to do. I don't make myself feel bad just because I'm falling. I'm trying, right? Just like the baby. They're gonna walk, they're gonna fall. You're not gonna be like, oh no, 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 no. It's taking you months to walk, just give up, just sit down already. So when I'm coaching other people, I want to empower you to figure it out for yourself because you actually have the answers. Like, this is not a situation of I know what to do, I'm gonna tell you what to do, and then you do it. This is a situation of you know what to do. I'm just helping you find that within yourself so you can have the the confidence to show up as your real self and be comfortable with who you are. So did I answer your question?
Absolutely, 100%. I love how you talk about confidence because confidence is empowering. And confidence, I believe, comes within competence. So when you're competent within things, that gives you the confidence to go do anything that you want to do. And here's the thing, every single day, we go do things. We're confident. We are leaders. We lead ourselves and then we lead others through our coaching, through our teaching, through our example, through our knowledge, through our experience. All right. And every single day I fail. I admit that. I fail every single day. I am not perfect at all. If I was perfect, you know what I'm saying? I would be probably sitting on a mountaintop giving people advice, whatever the case would be. And I'm just not. I'm not perfect. And I admit that. Okay. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. A lot of people are like, oh, I failed. I quit. I give up. I don't, this, that, and the other. And that, you literally cheat other people out of you being the best version of yourself when you quit and give up just because you made a mistake, just because you failed at something. I fail every day.
Yes.
And that's great. That is absolutely great that I can fail, that you can fail. But the biggest thing that you can do is admit that you have failed. Not that you're a failure, you have failed. And there's a difference between failing at something and just outright being a failure.
That's true.
There's a difference between the two. So I kind of want to touch on a little bit more on words here. So I know words are powerful. But even more powerful than words is the way that you say them. The sounds of certain words can absolutely be soothing. From the sound as simple as hearing your own name, or maybe it be like a family member's name or something, sounds can be soothing. They really can be. And, but they can play a significant part also in how you feel. Here's the thing. I love how you talked about affirmations. And I have affirmations myself too. I have an affirmation that I tell myself every single day. I can, I will, and I must. Those are the three biggest things that I tell myself every single day. So what are some words that you like to hear that primes your mind or primes yourself? What are some of your words of affirmation?
So one for me that comes a lot is you got this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And sometimes I go like, you got this, mama, you can do this, it's all right, you can do this. So I say that a lot because we do have those days where you're struggling, you just kind of put one foot in front of the other, you tell yourself it's okay, just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep moving. So you can do this is one that I say a lot. Baby steps is one that stays in my mind. And this one is important because when I was learning English, a lady that I admire who was a mother figure to me when things were tough and I would want to give up, she would say, oh, just baby steps. But I did not really understand what she meant, right? Like in my limited understanding of English, I think she meant maybe keep going, but I didn't know what she meant by baby steps. I was like, I think she means tiny little steps. So like now it really sinks in what she means by baby steps, right? But so definitely mine is definitely you got this, you can do it. But I also tell myself some days like, okay, look at yourself in the mirror. We need to have a talk. Are you actually being the person? Are you living to your own expectation? Because it's easy to sometimes you kind of get in a rut and you kind of just keep doing things and you think that you are on the ball, but you're not, because some area of your life are lacking. Like just not too long ago, I was skipping meditation and thought I was doing great. but there was a lot of cloud in my mind, and I felt really, really stuck. Of course, if you feel uncomfortable enough, I've meditated before. I know the difference. I went back to meditate. I feel better now. And so now I'm doing more of it. I don't like to meditate that much. It's not my thing, but it makes me feel good. So it's kind of like a thing that I tell myself I have to meditate. I don't have to. I choose to because it makes me feel good and it's good for my health. So how much do I want to grow? That much that I'm gonna do things that I don't want to that I don't want to do.
You know, and I like that you talk about meditation because I think meditation is one of those things that allows you to get into a healthy space because I
Mm-hmm.
really strongly believe that having a space, you know what I'm saying, all to yourself is really, you know, it's important. I believe having that space, taking time away from all of the stress and all of the things that tend to happen in life. And here's the thing, I really enjoy, I enjoy being alone because it allows me the ability to really think clearly and focus on the things that I'm working on. But you know, at the opposite end of that spectrum, there's another side of me that really desires connection with other people because connection is important. It
It's,
really is. Now, there's that
uh,
time where we must break away, but there's also
mhm,
that time where we must connect with other people. And that's what you and I are doing right now. We're
mhm,
connecting, we are learning, we are growing, we are discovering from each other through our
mhm,
conversation, through our
mhm, mhm,
example,
mhm.
and we're teaching others through that. It's
That's true.
amazing. You know, I wrote this quote down a long time ago, and it goes like this: I may be alone, but I'm not lonely. You know, it's really a mindset in how you look at it. There's a lot of
Mhm,
people that's
mhm,
out there that
mhm,
says, "Oh, I'm alone. I don't have nobody
mhm,
within the
mhm,
world." No, you don't. You have yourself. You really do. Okay. Now, like I said, I might be alone, but you know what? I'm not lonely.
mhm.
So, how would you coach someone who thinks that they are alone or they say that they're lonely?
Well, like being like when I think there's another quote that says you're not it's not loneliness if you love the person that you're with, you
Mm,
know. And I've experienced loneliness. I love being alone. I live alone. You have no idea. I swear, I don't know if my neighbors can hear me, but if they could, I know they would think I'm crazy because they know I live alone. I talk to myself, I laugh at myself, I make jokes, I jump around. I mean, like you would think there's someone else here, and I just love it. When I have to be around other people, it's actually difficult for me because, like I say, I give a lot of energy, and when I'm around other people, automatically it's almost like you're working. So you're just trying to make them feel good and picking up on the energy and blah 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 blah. But
right.
when it comes to loneliness, it's just that you're not connected with people.
Mm,
I experienced loneliness when I had the most people around me, and I had never experienced that before. And I remember talking to a close friend of mine, and I was like, I'm lonely. I don't know, I'm lonely. I just feel so alone. I just feel so alone. And then she said, but you've been alone all your life. What's the difference now? And first of all, I was offended because I didn't know why she was saying that. She wasn't understanding why I felt alone. But I was just confused. I felt alone, but there were people around me. So I had to explore that for myself, and I didn't understand what it meant. Now, looking back, this version of myself, it's not that I wasn't lonely because I didn't have people around me. I
mm,
was disconnected from other people and I was disconnected from myself. And so that loneliness, it's an emptiness. It's the feeling you feel empty. It's like you need to fill that empty hole with something. And so
mm.
like nothing seems to fill it. And I feel like it's a sign that you need to connect with yourself. You're not together, you're not grounded. And so like I think that's what that feeling of loneliness is. You're not connected. So we'll work obviously on, finding yourself, fall in love with you, blah, 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 blah. It's a process. It's a process. It takes time.
I love that perspective. I want to kind of share another little quote right here, just to kind of caveat on what it was that you're saying right there. And it's an absolutely amazing quote. It's one of the best quotes that I hold true within my life as well too. And it goes like this: A bell's not a bell until you ring it. A song is not a
Oh.
song until you sing it.
Mm,
Love in
mm,
your heart
mm,
wasn't
mm,
put
mm,
there to
mm, mm,
stay.
mm. Nice.
Love isn't love until you give it away.
That's true. That's
I
true.
love that quote. Here's the thing: be love for someone today. Be that shining light that brightens up a dark room. Be that hope when all feels hopeless. If you are blessed, then be a blessing.
Mm,
Remember, you are enough.
mm.
You're enough. So don't let anyone take that away from you. There's lots of negativity that's happening out there in the world, but be a positive light. Here's the thing. We are put on this earth to live, but more important, we are put on this earth to give.
Yes. Yes.
What are you going to give someone today? And here's what I want you to give today, Rose. If you could give everybody out there watching today one absolutely golden nugget to brighten their day, to shine light on them, to allow them to be love to themselves and to other people out there within the world, what would that golden nugget be?
Learn to have serious conversation with yourself. When you're in a relationship with other people, you have that moment where you go, we need to talk. And when you tell that other person, we need to talk, you know it's serious. You need to be able to say that to yourself and have yourself be like, oh, I think we need to get us together. Learn to have serious conversation with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say.
I agree with that. You have to be serious with yourself. You have to be able to be honest with yourself. And when you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with others. Nothing speaks louder than the truth.
That's true.
Okay. All right. So, Rose, thank you for joining me here today. I had an absolutely amazing conversation. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your day to join me here today. And I'm blessed. I love your smile. I love your energy. I love all the value that you brought here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry, for having me. I'm so glad we finally got to connect here. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to connect more with Rose, make sure that you follow her on Instagram. So up at the top of the screen there, you're going to see my name and a little drop-down menu. Make sure that you tap on that right there. If you've not connected with me, please follow me for more. Make sure that you follow Rose and to get connected with her so that way you can get over there and get yourself some love. And click on her link tree. She has a link tree right there within her profile. And when you click on that link tree within her profile, there you'll see her YouTube channel, her coaching sessions. So her coaching sessions are absolutely amazing. She's got a 30-minute discovery call. She's got a 30-minute and a 1-hour emotional support session to where you can vent, you can talk, you can discover things about yourself. And sometimes that's all that we need is just another person to talk to, someone that will listen and give that support, share that love, share that comfort, give you that hug that you need.
Yes.
And you can also get a 1-hour inspirational session because, you know, there's so much negativity that's happening out there within this world. And sometimes all we need is just a little bit of inspiration. So please follow Rose, get connected with her, book yourself a session call, and have a great day. Rose, thank you for
Gary, you're so
joining me.
awesome. Thank you. Have a great day too.
Awesome. We'll see you next time.
Bye.